There's a very specific tension you are holding in your body right now, a deep and exhausting friction between the instinct to move and an invisible, inexplicable command to stand entirely still. You feel the urgency pressing against your chest every morning when you wake up. You look at the landscape of your life. You look at the circumstances surrounding you. You look at the goals you have carried for years, and every logical part of your human mind is screaming at you to do something. To force the door, to send the message, to make the move, to pack up and run, to fix the situation before it unravels completely. You can feel the adrenaline of self-preservation coursing through your veins, telling you that if you do not act right now, in this exact moment, everything you have worked for is going to collapse. You feel the panic of passing time, the suffocating fear that you are missing your window, that you are falling behind, that others are passing you by while you are stuck in some strange, unyielding holding pattern. And yet, every time you try to take that step, every time you try to force that transition, every time you try to manifest the outcome through your own sheer willpower, you hit a spiritual wall. A heavy, undeniable restraint settles over your spirit. It is not confusion, and deep down you know it is not just fear. It is a divine block. It is the Spirit of God whispering a single, frustrating, agonizing word into your soul. Wait. You are living in the excruciating gap between your human desire for resolution and God's sovereign timeline for your preparation. You are feeling the terrifying vulnerability of doing nothing when everything inside you is demanding action. You are looking at the open doors in front of you, doors that look perfectly fine, doors that look like the logical next step, doors that other people are begging you to walk through. And yet, your spirit refuses to let you cross the threshold. You feel paralyzed not by indecision, but by a bizarre, unshakable obedience to a restraint you cannot even fully explain to the people around you. You try to articulate it to your friends, your family, your peers, and they look at you with well-meaning confusion. They tell you to just go for it. They tell you that God helps those who help themselves. They tell you that you are overthinking it, that you are self-sabotaging, that you are letting fear hold you back. But you know with a sickening certainty that if you move right now, you will be moving outside the covering of God's timing. You are experiencing the deep, lonely agony of divine restraint. And because you cannot explain it, you are beginning to doubt it. You are beginning to wonder if you have lost your edge. You are beginning to wonder if you are just making excuses. You are beginning to wonder if God has forgotten you, if this delay is actually a punishment, if you have somehow derailed your own destiny by failing to act when the world told you to move. You are suffocating under the pressure of unfulfilled potential, staring at a horizon you cannot yet walk toward, wondering how much longer you are expected to survive in this tension. But what you are experiencing is not random, and it is most certainly not a punishment. It is, in fact, one of the most ancient, recognizable, and deeply documented patterns in the history of God's dealings with His chosen people. You are not losing your mind, and you have not lost your way. You have simply entered the advanced curriculum of the chosen. You have crossed into the sacred territory where God separates those who are driven by ambition from those who are led by the Spirit. Anybody can move when the trumpet sounds and the path is clear. Anybody can run when the momentum is in their favor and the crowd is cheering. Anybody can take action when taking action is the easiest, most logical thing to do. But it takes a terrifying level of spiritual maturity to stand completely still when everything in your environment is screaming at you to run. It takes a profound, almost reckless trust in God to allow yourself to look foolish, stuck, or delayed in the eyes of the world, because you are honoring a divine pause. What you are living through right now is the exact pattern that has marked the lives of every true prophet, every visionary, every chosen vessel in the history of the restoration. God does not just prepare the calling for the person, He must prepare the person for the calling. And the most intense phase of that preparation almost always looks like restriction. It looks like being put on a shelf. It looks like being backed into a corner where you have no options left except to surrender your timing to His. This is the pattern of the wilderness. This is the pattern of the pause. This is the exact spiritual mechanism God uses to burn the impulsiveness, the self-reliance, and the fear out of your system. He is teaching you the critical difference between human urgency and divine timing. Human urgency is frantic. It is driven by scarcity, by the fear of missing out, by the desperate need to control outcomes. Divine timing is anchored, heavy, and sovereign. God is actively training you to recognize the subtle, profound difference between the peace of His permission and the panic of your own ambition. He is wiring your spirit to respond only to his voice, even when that voice contradicts every survival instinct in your body. This season of restraint is not a sign that your calling has been revoked. It is the ultimate proof that your calling is real, that it is so vital, so massive, and so delicate that God refuses to let you step into it prematurely. You are not being held back. You are being held in reserve. You are being positioned. You are being recalibrated so that when you finally do move, you will move with the devastating, unstoppable force of heaven behind you, rather than the fragile, exhausting energy of your own striving. But because you are in the middle of this agonizing wait, because the silence is so heavy and the restraint is so tight, the enemy has flooded your mind with an unrelenting torrent of lies about what this season actually means. The warfare you are experiencing in your mind right now is not a coincidence. It is a calculated, targeted attack on your perception of God's timing. The enemy knows he cannot stop your calling, so he is trying to get you to abort it by forcing you to move before the appointed time. He has been whispering in your ear day and night, telling you that your stillness is evidence of your failure. He is telling you that you have missed the boat, that the window of opportunity has slammed shut, that everyone else is passing you by, getting married, building careers, launching ministries, while you are sitting in the dust, forgotten and irrelevant. He is using the success of others to mock your delay. He points to the open doors around you and whispers, if God loved you, he would let you walk through that. If you were truly chosen, you wouldn't be stuck here. He is trying to weaponize your very real human desires against your spiritual obedience. He is trying to convince you that this restraint is not God's protection, but God's rejection. He is trying to make you panic. He wants you to become so consumed with anxiety, so terrified of being left behind, that you finally break rank, ignore the check in your spirit, and manufacture your own breakthrough. He wants you to birth an Ishmael because you are tired of waiting for Isaac. He wants you to settle for the good idea because you are exhausted from waiting for the God idea. And the most insidious lie he is feeding you right now is the accusation of cowardice. He is telling you that you are not waiting on God, you are just afraid. He is telling you that you are hiding behind spirituality to mask your own fear of taking a risk. This is the deepest, most painful cut of all, because you know your own weaknesses, and you wonder if the enemy is right. You wonder if your inability to move is just a lack of faith. But you must hear this clearly. The panic you feel is not from the Holy Ghost. The frantic, desperate, breathless pressure to make something happen right now is the signature of the adversary. The enemy drives, the Spirit leads. The enemy pushes you from behind with a whip of anxiety. The Spirit calls you from the front with a voice of peace. The lie you have been battling is that your waiting is wasting. The lie is that your stillness is a void. But in the economy of heaven, obedient waiting is the highest form of spiritual action. To fully understand the profound power of what you are being asked to do right now, I need you to look at a very specific, agonizing moment in the life of Joseph Smith. I need you to go back to the sweltering heat of June 1844. Nauvoo is a powder keg waiting for a spark. The mobs are gathering in Carthage and Warsaw, painting their faces black, screaming for the blood of the prophet. The Nauvoo expositor has been destroyed, martial law has been declared, and the governor of Illinois, Thomas Ford, has demanded that Joseph surrender himself to Carthage to stand trial. The atmosphere is thick with betrayal, panic, and impending violence. Joseph knows exactly what Carthage means. He has been given prophetic premonitions of his own death for months. He knows that if he goes to Carthage, he will be murdered. Every instinct of self-preservation, every logical, human, rational thought screams at him to get out. His friends are begging him to run. The plan is laid out. Cross the Mississippi River, head west into the Rocky Mountains, find a new refuge for the saints away from the jurisdictions of corrupt judges and violent mobs. This wasn't a coward's plan. It was a deeply strategic, highly logical course of action. It made perfect sense. It was the open door. It was the obvious solution to an impossible crisis. And so on the night of June 22, Joseph, his brother Hiram, Willard Richards, and Porter Rockwell step into a leaky skiff. They spend the night rowing across the dark waters of the Mississippi, bailing water out of the boat with their boots, desperately fighting the current to reach the safety of the Iowa side. They make it. They are out of the immediate jurisdiction of the mob. They are on their way to the west. The instinct to move, to flee, to survive has taken them across the river. They are sitting on the Iowa bank, preparing to pack their horses and disappear into the wilderness. Joseph has taken the action. He has moved. He has walked through the door of escape. But then the letters arrive. Reynolds Cahoon and a few others cross the river and hand Joseph messages from Emma and from some of the saints in Nauvoo. And the words in those letters cut Joseph to the very core of his soul. His own people, the people he has bled for, the people he has spent his entire adult life serving, are accusing him of cowardice. They are saying he is the shepherd leaving the sheep to the wolves. They are saying that because he fled, the mob is going to come down on the city and slaughter the saints. They are demanding that he come back. You have to understand the agonizing tension of this moment. Joseph is standing on the safe side of the river. The vast expanse of the West is behind him. Freedom is behind him. Life is behind him. In front of him, across that river, is Nauvoo, Carthage, and a guaranteed death sentence. His instinct to survive had brought him to Iowa, but the heavy, undeniable weight of his prophetic assignment was calling him back across the water. Joseph turns to Porter Rockwell and asks him what he should do. Rockwell says, "As you make your bed, I will lie in it." Joseph turns to his brother Hiram, the man who has stood by him through every dungeon and every mob, and says, "Brother Hiram, you are the oldest, what shall we do?" And Hiram, speaking not from logic but from a deep, tragic sense of duty, says, "Let us go back and give ourselves up and see the thing out." Joseph knows what this means. He knows that going back is not a strategic legal move. It is a march to the slaughter. But he feels the divine restraint. He feels the Spirit blocking his path to the West. He realizes that his assignment is not to survive, but to seal his testimony with his blood. And in that heavy, heartbreaking moment of total clarity, Joseph Smith looks at his friends and speaks the words that define the ultimate surrender of a chosen vessel. "If my life is of no value to my friends, it is of none to me." He does not run. He does not flee into the safety of the open door. He commands them to get the boat ready. He crosses back over the river. He walks back into Nauvoo, and he turns his face toward Carthage.